Hey everyone, welcome to Being with Cari. This is the show where I speak with previous guests of the Ultimate Coach podcast. Today's guest is the lovely and wonderful Martine Cannon. Martine, thanks for taking the time to be here. We deeply appreciate it.
Pleasure, Carrie. Lovely to be here with you today.
Thank you. Okay, so Martine, for everyone, Martine was on the TUC podcast, episode 113, The Transformative Power of Being Fully Present. And I highly encourage everyone to go back and listen to this podcast. It's inspiring, it's invigorating. There are things that she shares in there that are personal experiences that are just really kind of eye-opening. They were for me. And we're actually going to start our conversation today with that. One of those experiences was when you met with Steve Hardison,
Mm,
and he asked you four simple words. He said, "What do you want?"
mm.
And just very quickly before we started recording, you and I started talking about that and how those four words were so powerful because there were so many judgments around there. There were so many thoughts that came with that. Let's start there. Tell us about your experience.
Right. Yeah, so I think one of the things which struck me with Steve was he was sharing with me that we can create anything that you want, and that's super exciting. And with my clients, I'm saying to them, like, we can create anything that you want. And I had a response, and my clients have a similar response these days to it. So when Steve said to me, what do you want out of the infinite possibility of anything out there? What do you want? And the first thing that happened was inner panic because I didn't know what I wanted. And then I had a quick sort of moment of feeling like, is something wrong with me? Because the simplest question to refer back and say, what do I actually want? I couldn't answer. And the anxiety went straight away to sadness. So, and I don't know if you can, I'm sure lots of people out there listening can relate to this as well. It's like we should have an immediate answer
Mhm.
to that. We should automatically know. But I've been curious in my journey, like, why might it be that I was not able to answer that question? And I began searching on the outside for like what would be the good things to want. And you look at the typical society things that you should want, success is dot, 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 and I should want that. And they would last momentarily. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to pursue that. And then I'd create my document around that. And then I'd start off down the track of that part of my document. And I start to feel inauthentic. It's like I should want
Mm,
it, I don't really want it. But in the absence of that, I still don't know what I want. Like, who's going to help me work out what it is that I genuinely, authentically want? And so I had to turn it around a little bit and notice what, like, I think in each of us, there's something that we're hungry for. So that's where I began with it to say, like, what am I hungry for, really? Like, what is it? And then it wasn't obvious to me because the obvious things that you should want are easy, they come quickly. But
right.
when you're saying, what am I really hungry for? You have to look at where are the places where I feel energized, enthused. The moments where I'm doing something or I'm with someone or interacting in some way where I feel like perpetually hungry, like I want to engage more with this. It could be I want to know more, I want to connect more, I want to explore more. And that was an easy gateway for me into answering the question, which is, what do you want? Like, put it in a 5-point thing. It's like, no, but I can tell you when I'm hungry. I can tell you when, like, I'm feasting on life, which is,
Oh,
that's what I started to feel like I'm feasting on life here. And I feel like I could do it for the next, 3, 4, 5 hours. And that took me on the journey of saying, actually, there is no right list out there. There is the list that I inherited from my parents and the authority figures in the society, but it's not my own list. And I spent a good chunk of my life chasing the predictable things that my parents raised me to believe were the right things, And I think one of the hardest things is you actually become really, really good, profoundly good at getting those things or strategizing your way to those things. But it only leaves you empty. It only leaves you less satisfied. You might have a stronger ego identity, like I'm really great, I'm really good at this, but you're not fulfilled. And then I think you have the great chasm there of I have a lot of these things. Some people call it midlife crisis or early midlife crisis, but you have the things, but you feel empty. And I almost think, when I saw Steve, I was on the cusp of this, was that I almost think it's harder because you then have um, things to lose. So it's harder to be authentic when there's a lot to lose, when your mind perceives you've got a lot to lose. Because the things that made me hungry or to hunger after had nothing to do with those common, identifications that we have. So I don't know whether you recognize this, but I want to pause and say, is it
Well,
just me or is this you too?
no, absolutely, absolutely. There's so many things that came up while you were speaking that I resonated to, and I was like, oh yeah, here I understand that because of my life experience of this. Oh wait, I understand this. Oh wait, I understand this. Like I
Mm.
think it's probably a universal I don't want to say problem, but a universal situation where
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people feel this way. Pardon me. I know that I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and this is a person who is in their 60s, person I admire deeply and I know well, and it's a person that up through their mid 50s, they had a lot of money and they were very successful and they did what they were taught was the right things to do. And it ended up leading to drug use. It ended up leading to cheating on their multiple spouses. It ended up to
Yeah,
uh, these things that they could lose. And
yeah,
he just said it wasn't fulfilling. I
yeah,
was successful. It's the
yeah,
shoulding, like you said, I should do
yeah,
this, I should do this.
yeah.
And he goes, there was nothing in it for me. It was just ticking off boxes and putting it on that piece of paper. And he has since changed his life, become a coach, become a creator, become an artist. And he we were speaking yesterday and he goes, I'm just happy. He goes, we had to put an animal down the other day and I'm still happy.
Mm,
But this happened in our life. Our car broke down and I'm still happy. And it's just, what are those things that you how do I say it? What are the things that you can obtain that you don't have to lose?
exactly, exactly. And I mean, and we spoke about it just before we started, but it's something about, and I don't have the answers to any of this, by the way, it's just my personal exploration. I work with it with clients, but I notice that where I'm hungry and I continue to be hungry, it's kind of this back and forth cycle here of um, I give something and what comes back is nourishment and fulfillment or satisfaction, fulfillment. So I invest in something and I get nourishment and fulfillment back from it. But if in coaching, so many people said to me, you need to serve other people. So I said, great, I can do that. That's super easy. I just serve everyone out there. But you can serve and feel empty. You can create profound shifts and changes for other people and leave feeling empty. So that is not um, following the thirst or the hunger. That's believing that if I feed something on the outside, it's going to feed me on the inside. And it's not like that because what I think is actually happening is that, well, for me, I certainly didn't get full permission to claim my own life when I was a child. It was conditional. It's like if that person over there gets what they want and they stay calm, happy, and relaxed, then I get what I want. So I never got the thing to say, right now, in this moment, claim full permission for your life, which means pay attention to your needs. What are you hungry for? As a kid, what are you hungry for? Follow that. Ask for that. Like delve into that. I didn't get that message. I got it the opposite way around. If everything's good on the outside,
Right.
then everything's going to be good. But what it leads us to is this absence and a distancing from ourself. So if you ignore your sense of self for long enough, And the authority figures, if they don't shine a torch on and say yes, yes, yes to our needs as we experience their natural arising and their natural creativity, we learn to pay attention to the outside, not the inside. And that for me, it was like, of course, I couldn't answer the question, like, what do I want? Because I didn't even know what I needed. Because that voice of my soul had been turned down so far, it almost given up on me. Because if I was having a conversation, like a Jungian conversation with it, it would say, you haven't spoken to me or acknowledged my prompts for so long that I've nearly given up. But what I discovered is like what you mentioned with this person who, had the addictions and everything else, is those things now I recognize them as symptoms.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
those are they're symptoms, but they're not, they're like the echo, but they're not the original wound. So sometimes we try and solve the echo, but it's like if we want to go back to the original wound, it's like there's an unmet need there. There's a child who had a need that needed that need to be validated, seen, and encouraged. And if it doesn't happen, that's our pathway to trying to fulfill all of society's needs, other people's needs. And we can become really good at it and we can become very successful, but be left very, very empty. So the bravest thing that we can do is to look in before we look out. I know I'm preaching to the converted here, but it's there's no, I think that the part which I most want to communicate with people is to not believe that you need to answer, what do you want or what are my needs, but to just follow your energy, follow your enthusiasm, find out where it shows up. It could be in the weirdest places, collecting Coke bottle lids. It doesn't matter, but it's your soul saying to you, if you invest your energy here, your soul is purpose will expand and unfold from here. And we don't know where it's going to go, but we feel good. I could collect Coke bottle lids and feel profoundly fulfilled because I'm staying close to this sense of self that in this moment is indicating that that's what it gives me energy and enthusiasm. And it leaves breadcrumbs. The soul is always giving us breadcrumbs. The symptom is a breadcrumb to go back to what really enthuses us. And our job is to follow it, pure and simple. And that might sound easy, but actually it takes a huge amount of courage. Because what if you go, world says, what are you going to do collecting Coke bottle lids for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't know. There's no guarantees, there's no comfort, there's no security, but there's a closeness to self that if we stay with it, is our authentic expression. And I spoke at the Arizona event on that authenticity. Autos, the root word autos is self
Right.
authorship. Hentis is expression. I have to self author first. I have to know thyself first. And then the second step is to express it with others around me. And that's our job in this lifetime to honor each and every unique soul's expression courageously, no matter what. I feel like I'm on the soapbox, so I'm going to stop there.
I love it. No, no, no. It is gold. You are spewing gold. It's lovely. It's,
Yeah.
even for those of us, I think, who are in this world and have been in this coaching world and know this,
Yeah.
it's still, I think sometimes we can get lost. We're human. We're not perfect. I know when I started working with my coach, I thought the reason he coached was because he had all of this figured out. And so
Uh-huh.
when issues and trials come up, he's like, no, I'm done with it. And so I can teach other people. And he reminded me and told me very quickly that that's not it at all. We're
Yeah.
still human. We still need to be reminded of these things from time to time because we still lose sight of it
Yeah.
because there's so much going on and impacting us on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when you said Coke bottle tops, whatever it is. I was just listening to a podcast as I was getting ready, and somebody was speaking about this woman that they know who collects old vintage sewing patterns and
Uh-huh.
sells them and makes
Uh-huh.
money doing it. And the whole point of it wasn't she makes money doing it, that's what lights her up.
Exactly.
And there can be people out there that like, what do you mean you collect old vintage sewing patterns?
Right.
That's what lights her up. And
Right.
she's successful in it
Yeah.
because she found what it was true to her and not
Yeah.
necessarily acceptable by the outside world.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's, I remember I was on somebody's podcast one time and I was telling them, oh, this is what I've accomplished and this is what's happened and this is where I've come from. And they said, what's next for Cari? Where can we see you in a year? And I had no answer.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't,
And what was the feeling that you had when you thought, I don't have the answer?
it was anxiety.
Right.
I was so anxious. And I'm like, how do I not know that? How do I
Right.
not have that planned? But for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I've accomplished things I hadn't even thought I had. Here I am right here.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about moving forward.
And I clocked this with my clients. So once you start to know what your needs are and follow what lights you up, we can still as coaches say to people, because we want them to get what they want, say, okay, what do you want? We go with this session, we've got a series, what do you want? Without recognizing that the very first question that we ask them might be the biggest anxiety provoker for them. It might take them to the smallest, most reductive place in themselves, the young part, the very, very young part whose needs were never seen and acknowledged. So, what we're going to do with them is we're going to coach them further into embedded ego identifications of what success should look like on the outside because we started it with them. So it's really important for us as coaches to watch it with our clients when we ask those questions. If there's that pause and you see them sort of like scrambling around to say, what's happening right now? Just tell me what's happening. And then they can talk about the anxiety. Then we've got our place to start the coaching. So then we take them back to the place and we say, okay, what happened? Like about how old were you? And we do, the younger parts work to find out what are the parts of self that never got seen, recognized, encouraged, and help the individuals to start to form that essential relationship with we call it the self. The only part that's ever going to satisfy us is a relationship with living our soul's purpose, living our, true, authentic path. And that's, I think, our job as a coach is not to get people everything that they want. It's to reconnect them with themselves so that they can discover through this authentic movement what it is that they really want through relationship. And most people, and we said this in our chat beforehand, most people are scared when they're around somebody else to admit the things that little things like, I don't know what I want. We're scared because society tells us we should know, but we don't. Of course we don't. So it's like this thing of like, in every moment that we're with a client, whatever's happening on that side with them is like, how do I honor that? How do I bring that little part up into the light so we work with it, the scared part, the hidden part or whatever. um
Beautiful.
yeah.
I want to read something. While you were saying that, I want to read something that you said in your podcast with Meredith. You said, when coaching, I don't need to give them anything. They already have everything they need. My job is to hold space for them to learn that also and to allow them to be right where they already are.
Yeah, I get tingles hearing that back. Did I really say
So do
that?
I. I get
That's
tingles reading it
good.
again. I've read that so many times, and I'm like, it's or the word already is what really kicked it for me because I'm like, yeah, I accept people how they are. But the
Yeah.
word already for me opened that up into they have evolved to this point, and it's not a missing of anything. It's
Yeah.
a not seeing and an anxiety about not knowing, not having words for what it
Yeah.
is they're feeling.
Exactly.
It's just
Exactly.
a beautiful, beautiful profession. There's so many people that I know are blessed that you have done this with them.
Yeah.
And there's more people that are going to be blessed just from you sharing who you are with
Mm,
us and with the world.
mm.
So thank you for who you be, Martine. Thank you.
Thank you, Cari. You know,
My pleasure.
it's a evolution. I'm only doing the same stuff that everybody else is doing,
Right.
like working on myself to get closer to a relationship with who I really am, trying to courageously follow that. And I think I mentioned to you, Bodhi Kenyon was a big light bulb moment for me when he said he takes within 3 seconds, if he gets a calling or a message from the soul, he follows it. So that I'm on that same path, and encourage everyone to do that. Like when there's that thing that gives you energy or enthusiasm or passion or whatever, and it comes in with clarity, and it's not an ego identification, follow it. Follow it fast and follow it fully, um, and help
For-
other people to do it.
Forget the judgments, drop the judgments about it, any judgment, and just be with it and be
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah, yeah. You know, there's
Beautiful.
something, have we got more time? I've got one more thing I'd love to
Go for
say.
it. Go right
Yeah.
ahead.
I was looking at, I love words, right? So I like etymology and really understand the roots of where something come from. And I discovered that in the word passion, so if you think passion, energy, enthusiasm, these things that light us up, the root of passion is passio, I think it is, which
Okay.
means suffering. Which I was like, how can that be?
Really?
How can be the root of passion be suffering? And I thought the things that we hold most dear, like closest to our hearts, are the things that hurt the most, the most healing for us. So either, because I've talked on the hidden grace in struggle before, your
Mhm.
gateway to living your authentic life is to find the things that either like follow your enthusiasm, your passion, your energy, or go straight into the suffering. And this pathway between the two of those is the very narrow one that we need to to follow. So if it hurts, and it might hurt bad, or it might hurt so good that it feels bad, you're on a really healthy path. You're dealing with in life what really matters. That's what we're here to do. Tread the path that really matters, in my view.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you say it's a narrow path or it's a small, quiet feeling, or, I think it's important to remind myself and everybody else that it's not necessarily going to be the big, loud things that have fireworks and banners right in front of you so you can see it. It's
Mm,
often you have to get still and
hmm.
listen to the small things, the quiet things that are
Exactly.
just barely knocking, saying, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Exactly. And it's for those of us, you, me, everyone else who's had,
Mhm.
either big T trauma or small T trauma, which has you look to the outside to make sure everything else and everyone else is okay. The natural impulse is to not listen to in here. So that's why you and I and many other people will hear the voices very small or very quiet or almost absent. It's because we've had to absence ourselves from ourselves for a period of time. Because of big T trauma, little t trauma, we haven't been here. Some people, it might be loud and it might be clear and it might be like, the fire hose is on all the time, but they would have had the reflection back to them as a younger self. Follow, this is your need. What is your need right now? Fulfillment of that need. So, they get the fire hose in. So they know the roots of their true needs and their true wants. That's easy. For many of us, it's not. So that question, like, what do you want? What do you need? For some people, easy. I'll tell you what I want. 10 things. I look at them and go, whoa, how on earth do you know that? I didn't even know you know, what I want for breakfast is sometimes a big thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Martine, I've loved it. Thank you. Thank you for your words. It has been a joy to speak with you, to learn from you, and to just be reminded. Be reminded of these things that are easy to forget.
Mm, beautiful. Thank you, Cari. It's been a joy, as always, to be with you.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, everyone, we are so glad that you were able to join us today for being with Cari. Again, I'm going to remind you that Martine was on the Ultimate Coach Podcast, episode 113. The topic was the transformative power of being fully present. Go back and listen to that. You will hear expanded stories of what she talked about today and her experience with Steve, along with more of just all of this learning, listening to ourselves, and being present to hear those passions that we have in ourselves. Love you all.